Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. This is the week 7 of the top 10 tips, recommendations, hacks, tricks, whatever you want to call them. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Thank you again for all the support, and thank you again for all the subscriptions. It's been huge. Definitely love all the sharing. Number 1, right off the bat, a hack, SodaStream. I know a lot of you have heard of this trick, but a lot of you don't know how to use it or haven't heard exactly what you want to do with it. Or let's say, we don't want you to go buy the wrong one, because SodaStream makes a lot of different ones, and I would not suggest a certain type, otherwise you're going to be cursing my name. Don't buy the electric one. Pain in the butt, nightmare, super simple, quick clamp, leaks all over the place. I hated it. Hated it. This is the mechanical one, which is cheaper. Bonus. The mechanical one, what you're going to do, if you're bottling your beer, fill this up to approximately the little indicator here, there's a little line. It's about 1 liter. If you're kegging, same thing, but you get to purge a little more, make sure you have no CO2 in there. If you're doing it in the morning, chill it, you'll be ready that night. If not, chill it overnight, that way you're ready the next day. You simply take the bottle, once it's cold, with beer in it, of course, and you screw it on. It'll seal up nice. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna press this thing for about 2 seconds, 3-4 times. I've gotten so used to it, I just hold it until I see all the foam. I give it a second, I hit it one more time for about a second. And then if you're in a big hurry, you're gonna, as you'll see in my video, you're gonna have to go really slow. Otherwise, you're gonna leak all over the place, and you still might leak all over the place. If you wait about 4 or 5 minutes, you can take it right off, no mess, no problem. One warning though, the carbonation will fall out of suspension quite rapidly. I don't know if leaving it in the fridge for a week lets it get back into suspension. I have no clue what the answer is. All I know is it'll stay carbonated enough for you, friends, whoever to enjoy the beer, and especially a liter. I mean, between a couple people, that's gone right there. But you'll be able to enjoy it and enjoy it right away and know exactly what it tastes like and how it tastes. It's awesome if you're impatient. It's also awesome if you watch the 15 Quake yeast, or so we say 13 Quake yeast, 2 farmhouse yeast. We use this for all 15 back to back, and it worked amazing. I've used it for probably about 25, and I still have not hit my second bottle, which there's a way to refill those too. Number 2, scrub brushes. Okay, I'm gonna look a little ridiculous here with the scrub brushes, but I like the right scrub brush for the right job. As you've probably seen some of my stuff when I'm cleaning the shanks or the taps or the disconnects, I'm always using the right brush. When I'm cleaning bottles, although some of these brushes are overdue, carboys, I mean, you name it. If I'm cleaning some sort of a hose that I need to actually scrub a little bit, got the coily piece in here. I've just got every kind of scrub brush that fits the right type of job. They aren't expensive, they're very cheap, and they don't last forever. They do get worn out, but scrub brushes, get the right size for the right job. They're cheap, they work great. If you're using, plastic buckets and stuff, don't scrub those. Just use a nice sponge, clean them, and as they age, you want to chuck them. Number 3, long-handled metal perforated, yes, they're stainless steel, spoons. I have 2, so if I can't find one, I can find the other one. I've been using these since I was doing 1-gallon brews. It's awesome. Whether I'm mashing in, I just need to stir things up. If I want to try to do an extract, they're awesome. Basic, inexpensive, cheap. And that's probably the theme going here for the first half of this video. Number 4, Pyrex. Pyrex used to be kind of expensive, but I got this entire set off Amazon, and I don't remember the price, but I remember it was super cheap, and I was like, wow, that's a no-brainer. Because I love these plastic ones, and you've seen these in another video, where they have the measurements, you can just look straight down. I love them, but they don't tolerate heat. As you can maybe see, this one's got a little funky shape to it because I probably put too much heat in it. But the Pyrex, if you're brewing, whether you're taking a pH reading, where you pull some hot water, go chill it in the fridge, and you take the thing, you're mixing something, or for some reason something happened and you need to start, dumping out your wort and moving it somewhere else, or whatever you're doing. I'm sorry. These Pyrex, I probably use at least 1, if not 2, in every brew I do. They're awesome, they're inexpensive, they're durable. They kind of fit inside of each other, not perfectly, but they do take up some space, but still, Pyrex. Get yourself a set. If you have a spouse, you can use them for cooking, baking, it doesn't matter, they're just huge. Number 5, funnel with a filter. Trust me, this is huge because you can move things between carboys or wherever you want. That's what I usually do. If you've seen my videos, I put it in a plastic one, verify my measurement, drop it into the glass, dump it in here, it aerates it. If for some reason I picked up a lot of debris, you know, husks, malts, whatever, any kind of debris that was in the wort, put this in here. Kind of a bonus tip, I'll take a regular spoon, small, not this big giant thing, and as it's going, I'll spin it, just stir it, make a little whirlpool. I'll get clumps of any kind of particulates that are still in the wort. And then in between, as I'm pouring, I'll stop for a minute. I'll take this out, dip it in some regular water, put it right back in, continue. And it takes out all that debris that may have gotten into the wort. Awesome. Number 6, kind of changing gears here from equipment to beer kits. Yes, if you're buying a beer kit and it's the first time or you've, kind of new to brewing, take your time. If you're doing a beer kit, don't follow the directions 100%. Follow them, but and that's a bad say. I shouldn't say don't follow them, but take them with a grain of salt. Keep in mind, a beer kit's gonna tell you, hey, ferment for 7 days or 5 to 7 days. Not all, but most. And then move it to a secondary for so many days. And then bottle. And then you should be good in so many days. Understand, your mileage may vary. YMMV, your mileage may vary. So when you put it into a single carboy or whatever your fermenter is, 10 to 14 days is pretty normal for most yeasts. And you're gonna watch the bubbler. The bubbler's your indicator. And some of the instructions out there actually tell you that. If the bubbler isn't moving anymore, or you don't see any bubbles over a certain period of time, if you're doing a secondary, sometimes they say, every 2 or 3 seconds, then yeah, go for it. But that bubbler is gonna tell you if there's any fermentation still active. If there's no fermentation active, you've probably still got some yeast in suspension, but there's no more sugars it can eat, or it's just done with the sugars as far as what it can consume. Then you move it over to your bottles. Now, your bottles, you may say, oh my God, I want it to be carbonated tomorrow. Yeah, it's probably not gonna happen. You're gonna add your sugar to it, your priming sugar that is, and you're gonna give it 2 to 3 weeks. I've seen a lot of them carbonate in 2, but I've seen them perfect carbonation in 3. Patience. Take your time. With the beer kits, take your time. Your mileage may vary. Number 7, if you're using a beer kit, yep, told you we're gonna go with beer kits here for a minute. Read, and read before you start to ensure you understand what you need and when you will need it. There are tons of beer kits out there that give you a basic overview of what you might need, but may not cover everything. It may not say, hey, you're gonna need a thermometer, or hey, you're gonna need a carboy. Okay, read it and then sit and think in your head, okay, I'm doing this, what do I need to do this? Oh, I'm gonna need this pot, I'm gonna need this. Okay, now I go to this step. What am I gonna need? If you can visualize each step all the way to the point that you've actually drinking the beer, you're probably gonna catch something in there that you didn't remember you're gonna need or didn't think about it, and you're gonna make sure you have it before you start, which is what you need. What is that? You will need it. Number 8, modifying beer kits. Told you, we're gonna have a little theme going. If you're buying a beer kit, there's nothing to say that you have to brew that beer exactly like that beer kit says. Don't be afraid to make it your own. I mean, swap out an ingredient, add an ingredient. I do it all the time with the hops. It may come with certain hops. I almost always add more hops. I like it bitter and I like it hoppy. So especially if you're doing an IPA or even a pale ale, don't be afraid of swapping things out. Don't be afraid of adding things. Keep in mind when you add things though, you could bump up that ABV a bit. And at the same time, if you're taking something away, you could reduce that ABV. So don't just swap things out to swap them out. Swap them out if you understand what you're doing. And on top of that, you have a goal of what you're trying to achieve. A great example, I get some great deals on black IPAs, but trust me, I add a ton of hops and I add a lot more hops than what comes with it. Getting into that adding. Number 9, avoid dumping sugar into your brews. That is probably one of the most common things I hear from people when the first time they ever brewed, somebody, or the second time, somebody told them, hey, kick that ABV up. Let's just dump some sugar in there. Okay, I like to add a little sugar to certain brews to dry them out because most sugars, especially corn sugar, is incredibly fermentable and it will ferment out very easily. But if you keep adding sugar, you're gonna end up with 2 things. One, something that's extremely high alcohol or fossil fuel almost sometimes on the smell and it's not going to be right. Or cider. It's going to taste like a kind of a cider off flavor. It's not going to taste like it should as a beer. Just don't dump the sugar in there. Trust me, you know, add it conservatively, think about what you're doing, and keep in mind it's going to ferment, and it's going to ferment really easily. Number 10, if you're bottling, bulk priming, which means like I have my bottling bucket, add your sugar, measure it out, say, okay, I've got exactly this many gallons or ounces, put it into a calculator, figure out exactly how much priming sugar you're going to need, add it to a little bit of water, mix it up really good, put it in there, stir well, but slowly. You don't want to aerate that wort. Avoid aerating that wort like the plague, but you want to mix that priming sugar throughout the wort for bottling. That way you get a nice even bottling. If you take the priming sugar and you try to add it to every single bottle, first of all, that's madness. Number two, it's probably going to be way off. They do have little carb or bottling tablets that you can put in. I've never personally used them as of yet. I've heard good, and I've heard some, you know, negative, but mainly good, that, you know, they're pretty accurate. So keep that in mind. If you're not using something like that, don't add the sugar per bottle. Just measure it out for the total volume, mix it up, and blend it really well, but very slowly. You do not want to aerate that wort. Thank you again for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing. Don't forget, like, subscribe. Thank you again for all the support. It's been huge. We've got a lot of big things coming. Been working with a couple companies and looking forward to some cool things. Thank you again.